Okay, we're back with another Q&A video, and things are going well. How I gauge that is the escalation of troll comments. They've been out in full force with their fake accounts, which means I'm doing something right. And let's take a quick poll. I could be wrong, but does creating fictitious accounts and trolling people equate to manhood in 2025? Let me know your opinion. Anyway, thank you to everyone who left questions. Let's get started. Which one of these three Midwest mob mysteries do you think will ever get solved? The Sam Giancana murder, Jimmy Hoffa's disappearance, or Chicago outfit underboss Frank Zizzo, who disappeared in 2006? Cold cases, such as the three mentioned, can eventually be solved. However, as for Giancana and Hoffa, I believe that window of opportunity has closed. Whoever was involved remained quiet, and in the case of Hoffa, a core group of people knew where they put his remains, and those people took that to their graves. Which leaves the 2006 disappearance in Chicago, the only one out of the three that can possibly be solved. If the Lucchese family picked a member from the Jersey faction to be part of the administration, what benefits, if any, comes the Jersey crew's way? Well, let's take a look at when the Brooklyn faction took the family's base of power back to Brooklyn. That act in itself benefited the Brooklyn guys, Mikey DeSantis, Georgie Neck, Frankie Papani, and so on. But more crucially, for the Jersey crew, it would mean giving them not only a rabbi, but a voice. The administration are decision makers, making and breaking captains, deciding on internal beefs, etc. It definitely pays to have an ally in one of those top three positions. How is life perceived from an outsider while living in Staten Island or amongst wise guys? Do they know their Cosa Nostra, and are they treated with more respect? My time spent on Staten Island was not as an outsider, so I couldn't possibly speak for their mindsets. Staten Island's an area not large in size, with a great deal of members of that life living and operating there. Most people are aware who these people are. As for respect, I guess that depends on who it is. Keep in mind, not every civilian is a fan of wise guys. Is the Queens mob still active with these gambling busts and RICO cases? What other rackets are left besides construction and loan sharking? Yes, there's an active mob operating throughout Queens, and gambling pinches and racketeering indictments are a common occurrence. And there are plenty of ways to earn besides the traditional rackets. Wise guys feed off of opportunity. As they say, if there's a will, there's a way. Here's a hypothetical question. If you were in the position Sonny Black found himself in after the Donnie Brasco catastrophe, would you have willingly gone to a meeting where there was an extremely good chance you would be killed? What happened with the whole Donnie Brasco incident could have happened to anyone or any crew. Okay, I'll rephrase that. To most crews. The problem, besides the usual greed, was that Agent Pistone slipped through the cracks and right into the inner circle of a crew that was thirsty for money. Sonny Black, in my opinion, should have packed it up and lammed it. In his mind, he was on the winning side, those loyal to Rusty Rastelli. What he didn't count on was the double banker, Joe Messino, pushing to have him killed. Sonny Black was an obstacle for Messino's goal to grab the top position, and that's a fact. At John Perna's wedding in August of 2015, do you recall who attended from other families? The wedding reception consisted mainly of our family, the Lucchese's. That night, I also seen Scoops Licata, who was with the Philly mob, and two former Lucchese associates who are now members of the West Side. I don't remember the one guy's name, but one guy was named Nicky, and he was a good guy. Are there any friends from your childhood that ended up in that life? Look, I'm not going to discuss that, or what people may or may not have done with their lives. Where do you see the mob in 10 years? I know I just answered this recently. A well-organized street gang leaning more and more into legitimate areas. When you encountered lifers in prison, were they accepting of their situation, or were they bitter and angry? Most guys with life on the back also had a front number, but for the most part, they were laid back and just doing their time. What do you think about the rage baiting that has been going on in the mob genre lately, especially by content creators who have no connection to the life, taking jabs at Italian mobsters, including the dead? You're speaking about a bunch of insignificant people who are showing you not only their character, but who they truly are. People who say things from the safety of their house and mistakenly believe that it could never happen to them. Everyone in that life will get pinched for something. Knowing that, how did you reconcile with yourself mentally, considering all the time you already did before getting involved with the mob? My answer is, if you're a person who's worried about prison, then you have no business in that life. And there are plenty of guys like that. Prison wasn't on my mind. Doing what I felt was best, even if I was wrong, at the time was. Why do you think the guys who are still in that life choose to stay? Do you think it's blind loyalty that keeps people in, or do they expect it to return to the state it once was? It's not a life that you could easily walk away from. And yes, blind loyalty does take place until that person gets burned. There are a lot of guys presently who are disgusted with that life. But again, walking away is not an easy option. I'll also state that that life is never going to return to what it once was. Here's a correlating question. Do you think another MAID member will officially cooperate in the near future? I don't think. It's 1000% and inevitable. As we speak, there are guys on the fence. And let a big bust take place, one involving multi-members of a family, and sit back and watch what happens. Which families are most active in drug trafficking? This person believes it's the Gambinos due to its dealings with the Balkan gangsters and the Sicilian mafia. I honestly don't know. Drug trafficking was a business most families were involved in years ago, long before my time. The Gambino family, like other families, have a long history with that business. Are they currently involved? Who knows? If you haven't liked this video yet, please take the time now and give it a like, as it helps with YouTube's algorithm. Anyone who'd like to show their appreciation for videos like this, or more importantly, help me to continue making them, you can donate with the Super Thanks icon down below, or through the PayPal Cash App links in the video's description. Let me quickly mention my blog, also called Sit Down News, especially for those of you who still enjoy reading. The site can be found at sitdownnews.com and is a paid subscription. And for the final question, or rather questions, it's from me to you viewers. How am I doing with the content? Is there anything I could do to improve things? As there's always room for improvement, no matter what we do, and we should always look to enhance. Is there any advice or something I may have said that's helped you in your personal life? I'd like to know. And is there any advice that I can offer you? Also, are there other topics besides the usual that you'd like to see? And lastly, at what point should I put all of this behind me? And thank you.